Tuesday edition of PFT Live. It is May the 12th. The Denver Broncos lost their starting quarterback unexpectedly late in the playoff win over the Buffalo Bills. We found out, and there was a vague tweet from Tracy Wolfson about it looked like Bo Nix got hurt on one of the later plays. We'd need to keep an eye on it. The next thing you know, Sean Payton's telling the world he's got a broken ankle. Jarrett Stidham ends up starting the AFC Championship game against the Patriots. The Broncos only lost that game by 3 points. And throughout the offseason, we've heard he'll be fine, he'll be fine, he'll be good to go for OTAs. He had his procedure. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. And then a couple of weeks ago, second procedure. So now there's some uncertainty as to when he's going to be available during the offseason program. They've yet to suggest there'd be any impediment. Sean Payton said the other day, and you're going to hear from him in a second, he's not going to be put on the physically unable to perform list. He'll be good to go for training camp. But there is that question. There is that question as to when he'll be healthy and how much work is he going to miss, because we know that the building blocks for the coming season are put in place in the offseason program. There's installation of whatever changes to the game plan or the playbook, whatever things you're going to do differently. This is the time to go out there and get work. You have Jalen Waddle there. This is an opportunity to get in some work from him. So anything you miss, I mean, there isn't a clear, bright line from the offseason program to the regular season, but everything you miss does make it harder to get to the level of comfort you would have if you were available. So I think it's something worth keeping an eye on, especially with a fairly big game set for week one, Broncos and the Chiefs, location TBD.
And another big part of this, Mike, is what happens when quarterbacks get new toys and get new receivers. They want to work with them. Sometimes they'll call them to whether it's their hometown or some great location. You can hang out with the guys. You can hang out with your skill players and develop chemistry. Well, they picked up Jalen Waddle. And what would I think Bo Nix would love to work with Jalen Waddle. Hey, I got a new receiver. So I got Mims, I got Waddle, and see how it works here and develop some chemistry. So any extra time that you can get is valuable. You certainly don't want Jarrett Stidham developing chemistry with Jalen Waddle. And look, it seems unlikely based on what we saw from Stidham in an AFC Championship game. Looked like he was not ready to be a starting quarterback at that level. He was a nice little backup, but if they had Bo Nix, they probably win that game, and the way the game played out. But you certainly, if you're a starting quarterback, you don't want your backup to develop chemistry with your number one wide receiver before you do. So I think there's some urgency there as well.
Here's Sean Payton from over the weekend at the Broncos rookie minicamp on Bo Nix's recovery process.
He'll be well ahead of time for training camp. I think there's a good chance we see him in this offseason program in June. We're going to be the ones kind of holding him back, if you will. We feel real good about where he's at. And you guys will have a chance to see it, here in a few weeks. But clearly, full speed by training camp. We just want to be smart relative to holding him back a little.
Look, that's a far cry from. It's no big deal. Nothing to see here. Everything's fine. They said the second procedure wasn't a surprise, but there's no requirement to disclose injuries. There's no injury report that applies until week one. They don't have to tell us anything. Sean Payton, like many coaches, notoriously close to the vest on what he says, trying to set the right expectations. But the reality is there's still an issue. He's not healthy. He's still recovering, and he's had this second procedure. So we just always assume, because we always hear, surgery is a success, and he's already ahead of schedule. And I know part of it is they're professional athletes and they heal from these procedures more quickly than the normal human being does, but it doesn't mean it's 100% that everything's fine. We still need to keep an eye on it. If I'm a Broncos fan, I try to put myself in the shoes of the various fan bases. Like, what would I be worried about if I'm a Steelers fan? What would I be worried about if I'm a Cowboys fan? If I'm a Broncos fan, I'm worried that Bo Nix may have some issue that causes him to miss some of camp, and I won't believe he's fine until I see him and I come to the conclusion with my own eyes he's fine.
Look, we don't know the details, but if you just go back to some of the areas. See, I'm always amazed by this. I'm always amazed by what gets professional athletes what gets certain guys upset. It's not always what you would think. Like, so a lot of them are used to criticism about the way they play. Hey, you should have made that pass, or, you overthrew that guy, you underthrew that guy. For a quarterback, that doesn't always upset them. What upsets a lot of professional athletes, what's triggering, is any kind of conversation about injuries. So think back, Mike, when Sean Payton came out and he gave his analysis of Bo Nix's injury, and how did Bo Nix respond?
He wasn't happy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. He shouldn't have said that. I disagree with that.
He said he had a predisposition.
Yes.
And had broken it before or something like that. Yeah.
And so they weren't on the same page there. Nix was unhappy with the way Payton described his injury. Now Payton is being, very, very upbeat about this injury, but it was a second procedure, and Nix responded that way for a reason. So I agree with you. If you're a Broncos fan, you're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on here? You're not going to get it. You're not going to get the real answer from Bo Nix. You're not going to get the real answer from Sean Payton. So you just take what you know and you just hope, because something's a little bit off.
Here's the article. This is January 28. Nix met with reporters the first time since having surgery. There was nothing predisposed about the ankle. Something might have gotten confused in how Sean Payton recounted what the doctors had said about the condition of the ankle. So, yeah, that becomes a point of pride. Durability, he said that. With the durability, it's been about, I'd say 4 years, probably over 60 games straight of me getting to play and not missing games. So he doesn't want to be labeled as injury prone. He doesn't want to have that cloud hanging over him. I think at a certain level, it's almost superstition. My dad was superstitious of everything. I mean, don't even talk about it. Don't even breathe it. Because football players know, especially at that level.
Oh, yeah.
With the speed, the size, the strength of the players, any play can be the play that knocks you out for the rest of the year. And it can happen on some fluky, dumb little thing like it happened to Nix. Like nobody even knew he got hurt.
Especially, and for quarterbacks, too. So football players are, if you're a lineman, it happens to you, you're out. There are 5 linemen out there. You're one of 5. Okay, you're out. You're coming back. The quarterback is one guy. It's one guy who gets to play, and all of them. I mean, like Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. Tom Brady did not like to give up snaps to his backup, even in blowouts. He was very hesitant to come out of games because there's this thought in the back of your head, wait a minute.
He knew what he thought when he was the backup. Give me a chance
right.
and I'll take that guy's job.
Give it. And that's exactly what he said when he was a 4th-string quarterback as a rookie in 2000. And he used to work out with a guy from Harvard named Dave Eitzman. So Dave Eitzman, I think, was probably drafted just before Brady or just after. He used to tell Eitzman, hey, I'm going to take Bledsoe's job. This is a 4th-string quarterback. So, Drew Bledsoe had just signed a $100 million contract, franchise quarterback, franchise icon already at that point. And here's his 4th quarterback, 6th-round pick saying, I'm going to take his job. So I think that kind of lingers in the mind of most starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, and just don't even go there. Don't put that out there into the universe. I'm fine. I'm not injury prone. Injuries happen. And that's the reality. Some injuries are just bad luck. Some injuries are an example of a guy that, for whatever reason, like everybody is created differently. When you look at a guy like Emmitt Smith and the abuse that he took and his ability to play through anything and everything, some guys are just wired in a way that they can take that pounding that happens at the NFL level and keep going. Now, they may pay the price for it later, but in the moment, they can keep going. Marshawn Lynch, I remember when he was playing, like there was a game against the Chiefs, I think, where he just laid on the table at halftime. He didn't even go in to the locker room. He couldn't move, and he was able to keep playing. So it's a real thing. And with Bo Nix, to have his second season capped by this injury that was like, what? He's injured? It's going to create some tension. And if you're a Broncos fan, when everything's going great and had a 99.5% season ticket renewal rate, franchise record, arrows pointing up, they're going to have a bunch of primetime games. They were the number 1 seed last year. They're returning everyone. They've added Jalen Waddle. Vance Joseph didn't get a head coaching job. Some would say he should have. Didn't get the kind of consideration that would result in him leaving. So
he kept him in that game. His defense kept him in that conference championship game.
And when you've got a head coach who is completely locked in on the offense, you need a defensive coordinator that you can trust to take care of that side of the ball. And Sean Payton kept his guy. It's all pointing to the Broncos potentially being very good. The question is, who's going to be the quarterback if Bo Nix, for some reason, either – and, hey, I don't think – I know that there are times where coaches will tell us something other than the truth for strategic reasons. They have to. There are must-lie situations that come up. I don't see any benefit to Sean Payton to saying that Bo Nix will clearly be good to go before training camp if he has any inkling that he's not, because that makes Nix –
yeah, it makes
Nix look bad.
Put him in a position to look
You're writing
bad.
a check that guy may not be able to honor. And it adds more tension to the relationship.
Now, I try to keep up with most free agent moves, off-season moves. Did the Broncos add another quarterback? Or they just have Stidham?
They have. Well, they did, they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. I'm going to check the depth chart right now. Ourlads.com, by the way. They've got great up-to-date depth charts for all teams. They are thinking about adding one for the offseason program to the extent that Nix isn't available. And they really like Kurt Warner's son, EJ. He was there on a tryout basis over the weekend, as was Nathan Peterman, blast from the past.
Okay.
So they could add somebody else. Right now, their quarterbacks are Bo Nix, Jarrett Stidham, and Sam Ellinger.
Okay. So
whose claim to fame is when he was a little boy, he aspired to be Chris Sims. There's a video that they play like in a college game. I'm Chris Sims when he was like 2 years old, running around in his Longhorn jersey. So those are the 3 they have on the roster.
Well,
a lot of teams like to have 4.
They
when
didn't
you get
upgrade. I'm thinking so they didn't upgrade the backup spot.
Right.
Which is what I was getting at. So
and they love Stidham. They love Stidham.
Yeah, they love Stidham, but you saw Stidham. I saw Stidham in the AFC Championship game, and that. We've seen, and I'm not being unfair here because we've seen backups in playoff games deliver, and maybe they deliver for a little bit, and then they kind of go back to what they are. But we've seen backups deliver championship performances, and it looked like the moment was way too big for him, and that was before the snowstorm, the surprise snowstorm happened in the second half. So.
These teams fall in love with players at practice, but practice for a quarterback especially is fundamentally different from a game. You got the red jersey on. You don't have to worry about getting hit. You take away that fear of getting just planted into the dirt by a 275-pound pass rusher. All they're going to do is touch your jersey. You take that out of the equation, it frees you up a little bit. You throw that in there as a very real risk that can alter the mindset and then the performance of the quarterback. There have been plenty of guys, young guys that, they love him. Max Brosmer of the Vikings. They love him. They love him. They love him. They love him. They love him at practice. They love him. They love him. And he played against the Seahawks, and they lost 26-0. He had that horrible play where he just kind of handed the ball over to the Seahawks defender who took it to the house. And it's like, there is a huge, for the quarterback especially, the difference between practice and real game is dramatic. And we find out when they go play.
Yeah, some guys know how to, they know all the stuff. Hey, go on the board and tell us what their defense is doing. Okay, I got it. And what do we do in this situation? A lot of coaches give quizzes. All right, when they're in cover 3, what are we going to do? And what are our checks? Okay, I got it. Then the game starts. Whoa, why'd you freeze like that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not on the board anymore.
Yeah. When the light goes on.
I'm not in the facility. I'm on the field.
And there are consequences, and it's time. Yeah. It's a different vibe than being on the practice field. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.